Alright, good morning. We've got Drew here from Passive Tech. We're carrying out our second blower door test today, so just want to run through, I guess, the steps, the procedures, what's involved, and actually what we're doing. Well, Drew, you want to explain a little about what you do and what we're carrying out today here on site?
Yeah, we're doing the blower door test. So basically we are measuring the air filtration in the house at a certain pressure. When we fire up the fan, we're sucking all the air out of the house and measuring that going through the door, just to see how airtight the home actually is.
So I guess this is a bit of a temporary door here that gets set up so it can expand and contract depending on the size of the opening, and it seals up the perimeter of the door opening. Now this is the cover, isn't it, Drew, for the opening?
Yep, this holds the fan in place and seals the door up.
Generally the most important, I guess, blower door test to do is when we've got the house wrapped and we've got our windows in.
Definitely, yeah, that's the one you want to do. This is just really confirmation. We're just confirming that it is still relatively close to what we did when we did the roughing stage, yeah. Much easier to do it at frame stage to leak detection than it is to do a plasterboard air seal I've found in the
past. Obviously you can't go back in and find your leaks there.
Yeah, when the cabinet maker comes in and, you know, the electrician's cut a big hole out behind the plasterboard, the cabinets go in, you can't really fix that. So these crossbars are just going to keep the door nice and stiff. There's a lot of pressure on the blower door when we have the fan running, and that'll want to suck in or push out. So these bars just hold the door in position.
So Drew, obviously the fan's going in now. What is the process of the fan?
The fan's actually what's going to be measuring, so we'll be sucking the air in and out and measuring the airflow. The more airtight the home is, the littler fan you can get away with. The less airtight, we have to run a much bigger fan.
And is this blowing air into the home or sucking it out of the home?
So we'll do both. We'll do a pressurise and a depressurisation test.
Yeah.
So.
Where would most homes roughly sit in regards to air leakage these days?
They've done a fair bit of testing. They are actually getting better. We are getting better at making the homes more airtight. So I would say it used to be like 15 to 30, and now I'd be saying around 5 to 10, 5 to 15 ACH.
And that's where we should be sitting, yeah.
Yeah. I reckon 5 to, under 10 is a good target. That's what NAFA's, the rating scheme, sort of recommend, that's what they sort of model off,
as
under
a
10,
guide, yeah.
As a guide. We've done a measurement calculation and we're at 568 cubic metres. Mm-hmm. So we're getting the air changes over an hour. We're simulating that at a 32.5 km/h wind, which is 50 pascals. So that 568 cubic metres, that's the number. If there's 568 cubic metres going through the door in 1 hour, then you're at 1 air change per hour. And we were at about 1.2 at wrap stage, so it'd be good to see what we are now.
Do you find they get better or worse or stay the same?
A lot stay the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it got worse, what would be the reasonings for it?
Punctured membranes after we've done the blower door.
Yeah.
That weren't sealed up properly.
Yeah.
Does tend to happen a little bit. Let's hope that doesn't happen. So we're just measuring a baseline now with the pressure from inside to outside.
How do you measure the baseline?
We've basically sealed off the fan and we're measuring the pressure from outside to just the pressure difference. So it's about 0.7. Alright, do we want to go around and check the windows and doors, or do we want to fire it up?
Check them, so yeah, hopefully. Yeah,
Got a good look? Run the door.
So well, essentially you know if there could be a window or door open?
Yes.
Where, why, what will it show?
Because I won't be able to get up to pressure.
Okay.
So as this is a smaller fan, the house has to be pretty much under around 3 air changes per hour with this sort of volume. So if we're over that 2 to 3, it won't actually give a proper reading. So I might have to increase the ring. We can open the fan up a little bit more, get a bit more volume. So we might go to ring 1. Yeah, we're actually sucking all the air. We're depressurising that. Yeah, we're depressurising now. So we were at about 1.2. Haven't really changed at all. Yeah, 1.2. Fantastic result. So, yeah. Basically what it's saying is there hasn't been any big holes punctured after the fact. We pretty much did it right at the last minute, which is the best time to do the test.
Yeah.
You don't want trades coming in after that blower door test is done, generally. So say your aircon guy, your HRV guy, you know, anyone comes in after your electrician, starts punching holes, he might miss a few, and then yeah, you can be in some big trouble. Pretty much will not find those leaks at this stage without a lot of cost.
Well, this is good for the owners to know that
Fantastic result.
it's been tested.
Yep.
And you know, we've got it all here now, and
Yep.
got a nice airtight home.
Yeah, and we are running a ducted heat recovery ventilation system here because we are obviously very tight. If you were going this tight, you would need a good ventilation strategy to make sure you're dealing with the moisture and condensation properly and within the home. Yeah, otherwise you may lead to some type of, you know, some mold issues down the track maybe.
Well, that's great news.
Yeah,
Good
fair.
result.
1 point. Looks like it's slightly better. Great result.
So with the HRV system, what's sort of the biggest problem it solves? Like, why would people install one in their home?
Traditionally, we used to open windows, flush the house out. We had less insulation in the house, and now we're creating. The homes are naturally more airtight. We're caulking everything, everything's sealed up. We tend to not be as home as much to open windows and doors, you know, sort of like we used to. So people are just coming in, living like normal, running your exhaust fan, then turning it off. But all that water in the shower sort of migrates its way through the home, and sometimes the humidity can get pretty high. Therefore, a dedicated ventilation system will deal with that. So if you're drying clothes inside, some people do that without opening windows, and that can create mold as well. The humidity side of it, condensation risk, and then there's also the health benefits of bringing in fresh filtered air for asthma sufferers and
what we get the question around a lot is people just go, why don't you just open your windows to get that clean, fresh air?
Yeah.
Like, what would you say back to them when they've asked that question?
Well, outside air is not always clean. It can have dust and it can have particle matter and smoke, wood fires from people. I know at my place I've got people that burn wood fires. There's 2 wood fires. We open our windows to flush, and the air quality in winter is a lot worse than what it would be if we were when we run our HRV. You can still open your windows, there's no issue.
And I guess you get to choose when you want to get that breeze through, but on days when it's, you know, like there's obviously a lot of dust or pollen, you can obviously close up your house and have that clean, fresh, filtered air coming in.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's many benefits, I believe, to mechanical ventilation. The health side of it's definitely the biggest one. And recovering all the heat. If it's 0 to 5 degrees outside, you're bringing in 0 to 5 degree air, whereas with a heat recovery ventilation system, you get over 90% heat recovery or cool recovery. When your house is sitting at about 21, and you open windows and it's 0 outside, say 0 is a round number, you can recover with a heat recovery ventilation system. You can recover 90 to 95% of the heat in the air. You can get 20 degree air back in instead of 0 when you're opening your windows. Yeah.
So what does that do in the long term?
Saves a lot on energy bills.
Yeah.
So it makes your home a lot more comfortable. You can heat a lot less. So traditionally we had wood fires, gas ducted heaters, hydronic heating. You can pretty much negate the majority of that, well, all of those 3 things, and just have a few split systems, a little ducted system, but it'll be a lot more efficient. And it's not just recycling the air, you're getting fresh air all the time.
Yeah, and so essentially as well, long term, that means they're going to be spending far less on their bills moving forward.
Definitely, yeah. The house is going to be a lot more energy efficient. So no, it works really well. Yeah, done well.
Considering too, like, we don't have an internal membrane on this house.
This is just external membrane.
Exactly.
Yeah. is what's happening a lot though. People are building a bit tighter than what they think. So we do have to start looking at managing moisture a little bit more. Not so much going down the full ducted heat recovery ventilation systems like we do, but it's just more about managing that moisture. You know, if you're going to dry clothes inside, make sure you open your windows, maybe run a dehumidifier, and make sure you do open windows quite frequently just to make sure the carbon dioxide is getting flushed out, and particulate matter, VOCs, anything off-gassing, chemicals, you want to flush that. So
obviously people are interested in building airtight homes. How airtight can you go before you would recommend having to have a heat recovery ventilation system?
Heat recovery ventilation systems come in to their own under 3 to 5 air changes per hour, I would say. I would be looking at a good ventilation strategy, whether it be a fresh air system when your extraction turns on. You want to be getting some air in, fresh dedicated air in from somewhere, not relying on cracks and gaps, because your exhaust fans don't work properly when there's no airflow and you're just sucking through your building structure. If you have a window open and you turn the exhaust fan on, that's okay. That's a good fair path. Nice, clean, cleaner from outside than trying to suck it through your building.
Do these work differently in warmer climates like Queensland? Like with your HRV system, you know, I know up in Queensland they do have a lot of the mold and condensation issues, but they also, as they've said, like require those breezes because it is just hot there all the time. Yeah. So you get there. So the hotter, humid climates, we do energy recovery ventilation systems, so more ERVs, enthalpy. But then you've got to start adding a dedicated dehumidifier if you want to keep your home, because it is so humid outside, you want a dedicated dehumidification system, and then you can keep your house at a decent humidity. So I was just wondering if this operates differently, like in December, January, when we do have those really hot, long weeks, how these heat recovery ventilation systems, you know, sort of keep that heat out of the home.
Yeah, so they work the opposite way in winter, where they retain that heat, but they also retain the coolth, around 80 to 90% of the coolth. So if it's 21 degrees inside and it's 40 outside, you are still, with the HRV, bringing in fresh air at around 22 to 23 degrees. They work in the opposite way. But then you've got to really worry about sun striking on windows and stuff like that. And when the humidity does rise inside, then you use a couple of air cons just to dehumidify a little bit. That's pretty key as well. So we still do need our air conditioning systems.
Oh, yeah. And
right?
I think that's
and we need
the key.
to run them.
You still need them.
Yeah,
Just smaller units though.
Yeah, because warm air holds more moisture, right?
Yeah.
So when it's hotter, all the moisture from around the home goes into the air, and then the humidity is higher. So you actually have to get rid of that humidity, and that's what your air conditioners do. There's different ways to manage it. Every house is different. Some might require more, some might require less because of shading, form factors of buildings, stuff like that. They do require more or less.
Do windows play a big part in this whole system coming together?
100%, yeah. I'm a massive believer in windows play a huge role. So a lot of people say, oh, it doesn't matter, you know, what glass you use, what frames you use. When you do the modeling and it's lived in experience, windows make a huge difference. So when you go from single to double and then thermally broken, and shading, exterior shading, in my belief, is a really, really big part of keeping the house cool.
So thermally broken would mean that the actual window frame itself is not conducting hot or cold from the outside through the frame.
Correct.
And transferring it into your house.
That's right, yeah. We do thermal imaging on houses, and when they've got an aluminium frame on the outside and sun striking that aluminium frame, inside can be 50 to 55 degrees. You pretty much need an aircon straight away just to offset the heat radiating in through the windows. So that's why they play a big role.
Thanks, Drew.
No dramas at all.
Super stoked with the
Great result.